Hare Krishna. Once again, in Bangalore with us, we have a pioneer and most experienced Bhakti-vriksha preacher with us, His Grace Tirtha Chaitanya Prabhu, who has converted many lives. So let us ask him and know from him how the whole process has been for him and what are his views for Bhakti-vriksha. Before we ask him anything else, let us first begin with his personal life and his material achievements and qualification. Hare Krishna Prabhu, welcome.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for calling me for this interview. To begin with, materially, I'm qualified as an MBA. I had a stint of about 13 years in the Gulf, retired as a general manager and came back to India. I took on to Krishna consciousness in the Gulf itself, and that is where I started my involvement in the Bhakti-vriksha, and it continued thereafter after my coming back to Bangalore. After coming here, I am undertaking both deity services as well as preaching service in all the three temples in Bangalore, apart from having my own Bhakti-vriksha setup in Seshadripuram Center.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, so how long have you been actually associated with Bhakti-vriksha?
I had about years association in the Gulf, and in Bangalore I've been associated for the last about 7 years since I'm back. I started with the Bhakti-vriksha on my own, which multiplied to 2 and then 3 and so forth. And finally, when the new center in South Bangalore started, I started working with Ravindra Prabhu, who gave me the responsibility as a circle servant in South Bangalore. I was there for about a year, and then due to change in circumstances, demand of the situation, I came to Seshadripuram Center, and that's when I started taking over the Bhakti-vrikshas. We had about 8 to 9 programs, and in the last 2 years, it has gone up to now about 30 plus programs, and there are 3 circles, defined circles in the current setup now, which I'm overseeing.
So that means your role is as a supervising preacher.
Well, I'm not looking something on a designation, but I'm performing the role as a supervising preacher.
Amazing. All right. So, in all, how many groups are you, say, in totality, how many Bhakti-vrikshas are you monitoring?
30 plus groups.
Amazing. Well, so how long have you been involved in developing your group in the community precisely?
Well, if you see, like I mentioned, on my own I had 3 Bhakti-vrikshas, and gradually I started, as I started going up the ladder, I had sector servants coming forth, and when I took up the responsibility of circle servant, then I tried to identify suitable servant leaders who could be elevated as sector servants. I tried to train them and take up higher responsibilities, and that's how the growth has taken place.
Well, what has been your contribution in developing your group in the community?
If you see, the temple which I'm involved in is itself a new setup since the last about 4 years, and my involvement has been with them only for the last 2 years. And when I took over, I felt the necessity to take it up from the scratch. So I identified several areas of growth. For example, management areas, community development areas, counseling areas, and Bhakti-vriksha skills. So Bhakti-vriksha, as far as Bhakti-vriksha skills are concerned, once the Chaitanya Avatari group merged with us, now they are coming on a regular basis and giving a TTP program to our BV leaders, that is enhancing their BV skills. We have also started study class in Nectar of Devotion to improvise their philosophical skills, and time and again I try to give them sufficient management skills to help them manage each leader their own Bhakti-vrikshas as well as their own sectors. We also felt the need to have a separate Bhakti-vriksha setup for Matajis. So I identified that, and now we have a separate setup for Matajis, which is also overseeing the ISKCON Vaishnavi Forum, that is the Mataji's Youth Forum. Plus, I have two circles dedicated to families.
Oh, that's a wonderful achievement. Well, so what is, in your view, the mood of a leader in Bhaktivriksha?
If you ask me, the current mood is they would like to preach because they have all grown up from the ladder through the ranks. They have still the mood to preach and expand the Krishna consciousness, bring as many souls into this Bhaktivriksha's fold, and at the same time start training the members in each and every Bhaktivrikshas. So my Bhaktivriksha leaders are putting sufficient efforts to see that the members, each and every member is given sufficient infrastructure to develop their own skills in all the areas of the Bhaktivrikshas.
Well, please describe the relationship between the servant leaders and the devotees, and also between different servant leaders themselves within your groups.
I would say the relationship is extraordinary. I have had Bhaktivriksha members or Bhaktajanas who have really commended the type of efforts that my Bhaktivriksha leaders have put in their counseling efforts and on an ongoing basis. And also, we have a very good coordination between the servant leaders, sector servants, and myself also. Along with the management, we all have one thinking and how to grow Bhaktivriksha. We also meet regularly to see where we lack, how to improve, what are the things we need to improve, and we try to monitor these on a regular, ongoing basis. So the relationships are really very good, of which I'm really proud of.
That's what we need. Well, how do you think can we convince others to take up Bhaktivriksha preaching?
It's only by experience. What we have seen is initially there is some extra efforts that are needed to bring in a new member to the Bhaktivriksha. But we have seen that as he gets the taste of this Bhaktivriksha and is on an ongoing basis, as he gets exposed to this Bhaktivriksha, he doesn't want to leave this Bhaktivriksha and go. So this way, the involvement of each and every member in this Bhaktivriksha has been significant. I think it's only the initial efforts that one has to put in to see that a new member joins a Bhaktivriksha, and thereafter the system takes care of it.
What is your opinion, Prabhuji? Is Bhaktivriksha an idea of a particular group or guru or something like that, or is it in compliance with the methodology designed by our past acharyas?
It is not anything propounded or propagated by any group or any of the acharyas, but definitely it has started flowing from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, who has been propounding this Bhaktivriksha preaching, and thereafter it has developed to an extent that it gives an opportunity for every member to preach, practice and grow. So it is a wonderful opportunity for anyone to easily come into Krishna consciousness and show a steady growth in his spiritual life.
How long does it take for a member to start chanting Mahamantra after joining Bhaktivriksha group?
The moment a new member comes, on the very first day itself, we make him to chant at least one round. And once he develops it, he himself starts developing a taste for chanting when he involves himself in the kirtan, and they grow on their own. We don't insist anybody or force anybody, but the exercise starts from the day one.
How fast do the members adapt to our culture while undergoing Bhaktivriksha training?
I've seen that, of course, it depends from people to people, person to person, but there are very many cases where I know personally that after joining the Bhaktivrikshas, there are devotees who have given up eating onion and garlic within a span of 2 to 3 months' time, which is a very, very significant improvement. And there may be some exceptional cases where devotees have made a slow progress, but then the pace of progress is visible from the very first week that they join.
And how much beneficial is Bhaktivriksha to the newly joined members?
If you see the congregation or the Bhaktivriksha development, particularly in the temple that I am involved in, most of them, because as I mentioned, it is a new temple on which I have taken on this assignment, most of them have been new members, and they didn't have any resistance to joining the Bhakti-vriksha or keeping pace with the requirements of a Bhakti-vriksha. So to that extent, I would say that for a new member to join and keep pace, it's not very difficult.
How fast do the devotees progress in Bhakti-vriksha?
If somebody sincerely follows this Bhakti-vriksha system, by the time we finish the module of 64 weeks, one becomes qualified to take initiation. So I would say 64 to 70 weeks, one is capable enough to take initiation from a spiritual master.
That's, I think, the fastest possible. Well, what are the scopes for a devotee who has completed Bhakti-vriksha?
For one who has completed Bhakti-vriksha, even before he completes the Bhakti-vriksha, we give adequate exposure for him to take over another Bhakti-vriksha on his own. So every member preaches to another one, and every member we try to see that somehow he becomes a leader and thereby takes his own Bhakti-vriksha. So it's a very plentiful of opportunities for every member to preach and take over leadership in Bhakti-vriksha.
What is the most advantageous aspect of Bhakti-vriksha?
I would think that the most advantageous aspect of a Bhakti-vriksha is, in a temple, Bhakti-vriksha is like a mini temple. In a Bhakti-vriksha, all the sevas that are done in a temple take place in a minor scale, and everybody gets exposed to every possible seva in a Bhakti-vriksha. So in other words, by the time a person gets trained in the Bhakti-vriksha system, he is already exposed to the various services in the temple. So he doesn't have to struggle to continue to undertake any seva in the temple. So that way he becomes very well qualified and experienced in the Bhakti-vriksha stage itself, so that he can take up any seva immediately.
So that means if we talk about the mood of a devotee towards the temple services who has undertaken Bhakti-vriksha, what is your straight opinion?
There are some cases where devotees have joined, and within about 3 months' time they had the taste to play mridanga or kartal, and they wanted to advance, and today they are kirtan leaders, or somebody is doing some book distribution leaders. So these are all opportunities that have come up basically to the Bhakti-vriksha setup. So I think there are plenty of opportunities for anyone coming into a Bhakti-vriksha to take up leadership at so many areas of service that are there in the temple.
So basically what you mean to say is that a mood is developed towards temple services in Bhakti-vriksha?
Yes, definitely. What we try to do is that as they come join the Bhakti-vriksha and they progress, we try to see that they are also involved in the temple, they attend the regularly the temple programs, and then try to commit themselves for Sama Seva. So with the short exposure that they have in Bhakti-vriksha and involvement in the temple service, their growth is much faster.
Well, how expensive is Bhakti-vriksha program?
There is no expense involved in the Bhakti-vriksha. It's absolutely zero. Just Arti, for which there is no expense. Prasadam, we recommend very, very minimal, but then it's up to the devotees. Some devotees want to make it very elaborate, so we don't curtail them. But as such, there is no expense involved in the Bhakti-vriksha.
Are there any limitations in the terms of gender or age or material qualification or the social status of the member of Bhakti-vriksha?
There is no restriction as such. In fact, I would say that Bhakti-vriksha is the right place for a person of any gender, any age to join at any point of time. I mean, we have, I can tell you the instance of, under my circle, there is a Mataji who is just 15 years old, and she is holding a Bhakti-vriksha very, very successfully, where there are about 12 members attending the Bhakti-vriksha regularly. And she is an inspiring leader for many members in the Bhakti-vriksha. So I don't think there is any restriction in terms of age, gender, etc.
How effective are the Siksha levels, and what are the benefits of these levels?
I would say that Shiksha program has been definitely adding value to the Bhakti-vriksha system as such, and it gives way for a very steady and monitored progress for every individual member also. And at the same time, for the management, it is a tool for us to monitor how the concerned members are progressing in their spiritual life. So definitely it's a very, very wonderful exercise.
What is your opinion about the structure of Bhakti-vriksha in terms of hierarchy?
The hierarchy that is being given is very well organized, right from the director level to the circle servant to sector servants and servant leaders, and it is being very well balanced and organized in such a way that there is one unison in terms of the organizational objective. The thought process flows right from the top all the way to the down, and everyone is in sync with the objectives of the temple management. So that way it is very well organized and defined, and it gives room for everyone to grow.
What is your opinion, Prabhuji, for the weekly structure?
The weekly BB program is also very well organized. It has the Kirtan, it has got the icebreaker, it has got the discovery and understanding, Namamrita, and the preaching reports and plans. So I would say that it is very well designed and developed for anyone at any point of time to join in. And the design of the Bhakti-vriksha itself is such that it's very, very easy for anyone to adopt and be a part of it. So that way it's very, very good in terms of its structure and design.
How effective is Bhakti-vriksha in expansion and multiplication?
If the systems that are given are properly followed and implemented, Bhakti-vriksha has got sufficient rooms for expansion and multiplication by multiplication, and the proof of it is there within our own self, where we started off in a very humble way and we have seen significant growth through our own leaders and assistant leaders who have taken up higher responsibilities. There is a lot of room for growth within the Bhakti-vriksha itself for it to multiply.
How effective is Bhakti-vriksha in bringing out a preacher from a devotee?
From my own personal example, I have seen that Bhakti-vriksha provides ample opportunity for a person to become a preacher, because otherwise he has got very limited opportunity to expose himself. But in a Bhakti-vriksha, the moment he starts participating, that's a good indication that he is a potential preacher. So in fact, we would expect everyone to become a preacher at some time or the other. So that way Bhakti-vriksha provides ample opportunities for everyone to become a preacher.
I'll now switch over to some personal questions.
Yes.
So what was the biggest personal challenge for you to take leadership in Bhakti-vriksha?
Leadership challenges are always there, and I have tried to sort them out with my own personal experience in management, where I have been involved for the last 30 odd years in management expertise. So I have tried to use my own personal experience in all these things, and some of the biggest challenges for me have been in terms of organizing the setup, because as I have mentioned before, I have started in the previous setup also, as well as this, right from the scratch. So there have been a lot of challenges in terms of getting the right leaders, giving them the right training, giving them the right inputs. But then I have been able to utilize my skills by the mercy of the Lord and Guru and Gauranga to put these in place and have a good setup, and which is very well organized now.
How your involvement affected your family? What was their reaction?
I don't think my involvement affected my family life in any way, because my family members are also very much supportive of Bhakti-vriksha, and they are also part of one Bhakti-vriksha group. So I had, on the other hand, a lot of support from them in my endeavor, which helped me a long way.
You're so fortunate. So how do you find the time? What did you have to sacrifice?
As of now, I'm a retired person, so I didn't have to sacrifice anything excepting take a little bit of austerity in terms of my efforts and a bit of running around here and there. There is no separate endeavor into these areas. So I have not had to go anything out of the way to take a Bhakti-vriksha or take up leadership positions.
What is one of the biggest personal realization you gained doing this service?
I realized that I was much more closer to Srila Prabhupada and my Gurudev and all the Guru Parampara after I took up to this Bhakti-vriksha preaching. I'm sure, and I'm trying to seek more blessings from all of them so that I can assist them in this Bhakti-vriksha expansion, by which everybody gets an opportunity to take up to Krishna consciousness.
Please share at least one story, an anecdote of a real transformation that happened in one of your Bhaktivriksha members?
I have seen one instance where I had a typical drunkard who happened to join one Bhaktivriksha, and he was not at all favorable, and the very name of Krishna consciousness was very, very allergic to him. But then we made him chant one round, and we didn't force him to come for the next week. He came upon his own, and I was surprised that within 3 months he gave up the intoxication. So I think there was a big turnaround in him, like it has happened to many other Atmas.
Wonderful achievement. So please give some examples of material or spiritual help which your group members derived from the Bhaktivriksha groups.
We regularly have meetings in which we discuss problems that come up on a regular basis, both on the material as well as the spiritual aspect. I can give you some examples like somebody was recently very sick. He was admitted to the hospital, and then the whole Bhaktivriksha members setup was all out to see that they attended to him, and then due care was given, and at most this thing was attention was given to him. So that way, every member is a part of this Bhaktivriksha family, and they all see to it that nobody is left out and nobody feels uncared for in the Bhaktivriksha setup.
Amazing. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your very valuable time and effort. I would like to add something to this interview. For the viewers to know, Tirtha Chaitanya Prabhuji, you know now that he is handling the post of supervising preacher that comes directly under the Bhaktivriksha director. Well, being on such a high post, handling so many Bhaktivriksha circles, sectors under him, I have not found a tint of ego or reservations in his mind. I have been with him since 2 days now, and I can boast about it, that he is a statue, a vigraha of seva and humility. I think we all should learn from his experience, that he is so down to earth and humble that inspires me a lot to walk on the footsteps that he has walked on. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, and we offer our obeisances to you. Thank you for everything. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu.